Oakley dokley. I think we are good. Hello, everybody, and let me just adjust. Here we go. Welcome back. Episode 20 of the
20, I think.
Movieverse. That's a milestone. I think we should do. That probably warrants a super long 20-hour stream to celebrate, no doubt.
Yeah, when we started this a few months ago, who thought within 20 episodes we'd have like pretty much something really there to look at and say we've come a long way because we've had a lot of guests on, different people from the Snyder Cut movement,
Yeah,
Zack Snyder on himself, and we're having some fun here. Like we're just doing this for just a fun weekly thing to do, have some fun, discuss with different people about movies and opinions, and we got to meet each other out of this as well. So
we
uh,
did. The real
long
movie
may
buffs were the friends we made along the way.
yeah, I can't wait for our merchandise deals to come true.
Oh
And
wow! I mean, they're all in the background. I think we've got some
yeah,
negotiations. I think maybe
yeah.
Nike, Adidas. They've come
What
knocking. They've come knocking.
one of the slogans is "Can you hear us?" Because the
Yep,
technical
yeah, yeah, yeah,
difficulties
yeah.
and stuff like that. So
We're just like
it's
my face, in huge print, looking, very panicky as I'm like, oh no, the audio's not working, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
fear that comes with that. But
yeah. But it's all good fun. We won't get shot or anything over it. It's only a podcast.
yeah, and I mean, we've gotten into as you say, we've gotten into like a nice flow at this point where it's like straight away I can just tell, oh, I just need to turn that off, otherwise everyone's gonna be hearing Sean twice, or I know that the audio is
Yeah,
working before we even start, so it's like that's that's a good start. It's a good start. And hello,
yeah. And
Brian. How are you?
Brian's here. Brian's always here. So that's good.
He
I
is.
can't.
Thank
I
you.
can't like I don't have my usual laptop with me, so I'm not signed into the Google account on this laptop I just got for the show. So I can't reply to
Oh,
people in the chat and type, but I see your messages, guys. So
well, he
just
would he
keep them
would
coming.
just he would just yell at you all your answers, and you can hear us, which is great. That's the best thing.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. So I know we've got quite a few things to talk about. I only had two things listed on the stream, but then you messaged when we were talking like a couple minutes ago, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about this, that." Oh God, I forgot all about those things that dropped. So I'm sure we
I
will
will.
we'll
Yeah,
cover plenty of things, but
yeah.
get ready, everybody.
We
We've got a
don't.
lot to cover.
Yeah, we'll do about an hour tops. Just dive into all this stuff and just be in and out the door, as they say.
Exactly, exactly. So up first was like the biggest news to come out of this week, I guess, was the cancellation of New Gods and the Trench show, which is very surprising, I think, to some. Some others, I think, were kind of anticipating this. But probably the weirdest part is how Justice League seems to be the scapegoat for it, for at least for New Gods, anyway. Talking about how Darkseid appearing in Justice League, something they always knew was going to happen. They've known that this was going to happen for a year now.
Yeah,
Since the movie got greenlit, they knew that Zack was going to have Darkseid in it because the movie essentially does not work without him. Uh, well, I mean, it does to an extent, but there's a very significant amount of the story that relates to Darkseid and setting up future films and nightmare
yeah,
sequences and all this. So it's quite strange for them to say that, oh, he was a major part of Justice League, so we can't have two of them, even though we've got like 64 Batman in continuation, we've got several Jokers, we've got all this
yeah.
stuff going on at the moment. So what is your take? How do you, well, firstly, how do you feel about New Gods and Trench being cancelled? Before we get into the why, how do you feel?
Yeah. Well, look, I wasn't counting down the days to watch these movies or shows. Like when they came up, I would have watched them, of course, but I wasn't like it's not like a Matt Reeves the Batman or Joaquin Phoenix the Joker movie that I was looking forward to. I wasn't counting down the days, couldn't wait. Like I wasn't too excited because I didn't know much about these kind of characters. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like Ava DuVernay has been working on that for a long time now, and I've been saying for a long time I don't think it's going to happen because the budget for this movie would be ridiculously high, and especially in a pandemic COVID world, is a studio really going to put 200, 300 million into a big budget for a comic book movie with characters that aren't really that well known? And it's
Mm.
probably mostly going to be CGI and visual effects. So I didn't think that was going to happen for a long time. And then, of course, Dark had Darkseid in his movie, and it was a big popularity, Darkseid. So like maybe if Zack Snyder just came out and it was a flop and people hated it, maybe they could move forward a reboot of the New Gods storyline. But people want to see. It would make no sense for them to reboot the Darkseid character so soon considering Zach's one is pretty cool and badass. So, and everyone wants to see a continuation of that character. Now, of course, they could have went because Zach basically made them a New Gods movie by Zack Snyder's Justice League. There's so much background with Steppenwolf. Why did he turn on Darkseid?
Yeah.
How did Darkseid it overtake Apocalypse, the other worlds? His pursuit for the boxes for the anti-life equation. There's so much there that you could have made into a movie that Zach kind of handed Ava DuVernay and that kind of team that was working on it. But look, it's just another two projects added to the big list of DC projects that have been announced and never happened. So I like when they announce something, I don't get excited anymore. Man, I don't get excited. I got excited because the Snyder Cut was happening because we knew that was already kind of mostly made. But when they announce a Satana or a Static Shock or a Blue Beetle or whatever, I don't get excited anymore because I'm gonna be let down, you know, that kind of way. So,
well, it's to the extent of to what extent are these movies being announced because they want to make them, or are these movies being announced to take heat away from them as a studio? You know, if they say, and I guess this is probably a pretty horrible way of looking at it, but if they say, oh, look at what, you know, Ray Fisher's accusations or whatever, and all this, and then they say, oh, but look at all of these films that we've got led by, you know, people of color or whatever, you know, we're not this really big bad institution, and then like a little while later they cut them. So I'm not surprised if that is part of their strategy, is just to say like, hey, we're not really digging these films, we're just going to say that we are. But it's quite crazy how, you know, it's like, okay, you guys can put years of your life into this and then we're just going to drop it for no real good reason at all. You know, if they'd said the stuff that you'd said about, oh, well, you know, it's New Gods isn't the type of movie that we're going to be able to get to make over the course of the next couple of years because it demands an absurdly big budget, and in a time of a pandemic we haven't been able to make the big box office draws that we would have liked to have made. Maybe, you know, give people something to work with, give them something to say, okay, I can kind of see what you're talking about, you know, I can kind of see why you're not going forward with this movie. But just saying something like, oh, blame the Snyder Cut for it is just absurd, you know. I don't know how you put those two together. I don't know, as you say, I don't know how you don't just go, oh, we could move ahead with New Gods, let's just explicitly state that it's a sequel, you know, a prequel, sorry, and it involves the same roster of characters. Just bring in Ray Porter or bring in whoever and just say, oh, you don't even need to have to do that, you know. They could have a somewhat different voice. Just saying that this is a setup to using Darkseid in future Justice League films, boom, all of a sudden you have cohesion, you have films that speak to each other in a way that they're not exactly wholly, you know, limited by each other.
And you could have used it for even if you didn't want to tie it directly into Zack's world and say this is a continuation of Zack Snyder's world, you could just do a soft reboot with the same kind of the same look at the character, the same voice actors, and just a soft reboot and just tell a new backstory. Very much like Wolverine used to show up in movies that didn't really make sense in the X-Men universe. They didn't really tie in well together, but people still went because they felt like they were a part of a universe and they loved Wolverine and stuff like that. So it is a shame. But the James Wan, the Trench show, that could have been really interesting as like a scary horror R-rated comic book show or something like that, something new and something different. But that got axed as well. But he has Aquaman to work on, Aquaman 2. Ava DuVernay has really nothing, only a CW show called Naomi, I think. I never heard of it, but you know, so it's just a long list. Like the Batman with Ben Affleck, the Gavin O'Connor's Suicide Squad, Del Toro's Justice League Dark. You know, all these movies that were in the works of Warner Brothers just never happened, never got into production, and that's why I don't get excited anymore, man. Because what's the point? Unless a movie is ready to be watched, press play, then okay.
Yeah, and it is ridiculous because it's just you have such promise with these movies, and you can still it's so annoying to think about, but like they can so easily make it all work. You know, you can do the Snyderverse stuff that you just seem to hate. HBO Max, done, and then on, you know, theatrical release, you have everything else you want to do. Problem solved. You know, okay, it's whether a case of financing all these movies might be a little bit tougher. Fair enough, you know, there's a lot of, but I don't really buy that 100%. It's just, it feels insulting, you know, to somebody like, I guess, to Zach and also the people who worked on that movie. and to, you know, the New Gods creators and writers to then say, it's because Darkseid was in Justice League. You know, whether that is the big reason or whether they were just looking for something to say, now we don't want to do it. I don't know. It's the Trench getting cancelled. I'm probably less surprised by, but still at the same time, it seemed, you know, incredibly full of promise, and like obviously Aquaman gave us one of those like best shots in comic book movie history when, you know, Aquaman and Mira are diving underwater with the flare, and you've got that beautiful like white shot with the trench all coming down. Amazing, right? And I think at that point, a load of people instantly sold on this, like, you know, this Atlantean tribe or whatever that's been converted into these horrible monsters. Like, hell yeah, give us some underwater horror. That could be really good.
Yeah, and like, it's the same kind of. We could go on a big rant right now. We did it the other day on Movies That Matter, but we won't go on a big rant because we'll just annoy ourselves, and then we'll end up in the doctor's.
We got very annoyed on your stream the other day. It was like, we're gonna do an hour-long stream. That'll be that, and then like 2 hours later, we're like, I should probably end the stream right now. We're just yelling at each other. But...
So basically, the New Gods and Trench movies shows aren't happening anymore. One of the excuses is Zack Snyder used them in his movie, so they can't use them anymore. Even though if you watch the Looney Tunes Space Jam trailer, you had every single Warner Brothers movie ever in that trailer in the background somewhere. So I'm not going to use those characters again. As another, like, I still don't think Satana will happen or Blue Beetle or any of these teams until I'm actually sitting down to watch them.
Yeah, but I mean that tells you everything you need to know about Warner Bros. As an industry, right? Even if you forget all of the if you set aside all the drama with Ray, all the drama with Zack, all of this, all of that, if you just say, yeah, look at all these projects that they've had in the works for years just to then cancel for no reason, it's mind-boggling. But obviously we know that it runs a lot deeper with Warner Bros. The I guess inadequacy of handling a franchise is ridiculous. I don't know. You really wish that somebody else was in charge of DC, because it's like, I've said this on streams before, but up until like Snyder Cut coming out, including the Snyder Cut coming out, actually just up until recent times, just to be able to say, if somebody says, oh, DC is a mess, I would just go, well, is it? You know, you've just got, essentially, if you just say the Snyder Cut, that's just, you know, if you want to be frank about it, you could just say it's a director's cut, and that's it, and you decide which version is canon. But that's it, you know. That's really where the line's drawn as to confusion about the DCEU. Everything else is connected. Everything else, even if it's, you know, little Easter eggs are what connect it, and they're just focusing on their own stories. That's it. But then now it's at the point where I think rightfully so, everyone's attention is turning away from DC being a mess to Warner Bros. Being a mess, and I think that's becoming more of a general audience perception as they're hearing about movies that are, you know, like New Gods being cancelled. Like, that had a lot of wider appeal outside of just DC fans. So at that point, they're then blaming the studio. They're not going, oh, well, yeah, it was because of Darkseid being in Justice League. I'm going to blame Zack, or I'm going to, you know, it's DC being all wrong, whatever. It's people pointing the finger, rightfully so, at the studio and saying, why did you cancel that? You know? So, I guess... obviously, the Snyder Cut is the best bit about that, because it is the biggest piece of evidence to say Warner Bros. Does not know what they are doing with this franchise, because of the Snyder Cut being so much better received and loved by the general audience. So
it's not on Zack Snyder this time.
Exactly.
The narrative isn't it Zack Snyder's fault. The narrative is Warner Brothers. What are you doing? This movie is pretty good. Why aren't you greenlighting something, a spin-off? And you have actors out there like Joe Manganiello basically campaigning for a Deathstroke show or movie to happen. Jared Leto talking positively about Zack Snyder and Snyder Cut and Joker and stuff like that. So these actors want to come back, and so I'm sure it would be hard to tie down Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Jared Leto, Jason Momoa, all of them for Justice League 2 and 3. And that may be the biggest reason why Justice League 2 and 3 can't happen. But I'm sure some of the actors would be available to do a spin-off or a series. Why not? You know, Joe Manganiello's there. He basically has a script ready to go with Gareth Evans, the director of the Raid movies. Go make that into a miniseries or even a 90-minute movie, just something. I think it's cool, because this is a part of this Snyderverse. Or even if it doesn't even have to tie into anything that Zack was doing. It's just the same actor, and it will feel like to us that it's, oh, this is a part of what Zack's plan was.
And I guess another part of Warner Bros. Management is, if that is the problem, if they feel that is a genuine reason why they can't make more things, because, you know, Henry's doing Witcher and this and that, maybe a Mass Effect project if that's going to be the case. Ben is doing this. They can say, we just wouldn't have the schedule in place to do this for another like 3-4 years or whatever, then say that. You know, the amount of people that would get off their back and say, okay, well, I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that if they're already committed to all these other projects. Fair enough. But that's obviously, you know, I'm guessing not the reason, because if it was, that's a perfectly reasonable answer to the question of why aren't you greenlighting more, because they can say, well, you know, it just wouldn't be possible for another few years, and we want to see how HBO Max performs without Snyder Cut and that stuff like that being the mainstay. We want to see if it's sustainable, and, you know, we don't want it to be all dependent on just Snyder fans. I'm like, okay, well, like, if you're actually coming out with legit reasons and, you know, economic answers and scheduling answers, people can actually, like, have sympathy in that and go, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. You know, we can't do that. But if you just keep on saying absolutely nothing and just cancelling projects and giving out interviews that say, no, we don't want anything to do with this, you're just going to piss people off, like, to no end. But hey, you know, when it comes to Warner Bros, it's just expect the worst, and you'll never be angry. But I mean, it's just it's when we were going through the whole. Oh, I need to change. There we go. Hello.
Yo,
how's it
What's up,
going,
man?
let's see. I gotta fix my settings here.
No worries. Oh, actually, I can.
Put this together.
That's fine.
Zoom throws me a curveball. So let's see.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's as I said, you know, it's just never expect anything like positive to happen with Warner Bros. and you'll be happy. You know, you never have to worry about oh, you know, this. I was really looking forward to this project. Oh, it's been cancelled. All right, you know.
Yeah. See, can you hear us and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear y'all. My I don't think my actual mic is like connected. Let me see.
We can hear you. Let me see. Can I hear you on the stream?
I'm gonna do some retooling on my side here. We'll get it together here. Let's see.
No worries. We will just keep ranting about inept studio management.
Yeah.
while
You're ranting on here.
But it's wondering what's next on the chopping block is you know, and what reasoning do you put behind that? I mean, anything to do with Matt Reeves, I think, is essentially safe. Anything to do with I don't know. It's like O'Brien says they're scared. They want to be in charge. They don't want Snyder's movies overshadowing or dictating their future plans. And it's I mean that's nail on the head. But you just wonder why they aren't just thinking. Well, this was something I think I said last stream, right? What the best argument I could come up with for why Warner Bros. Aside from ego, which this kind of is to do with ego, the main reason why I could see why they don't want any more of this stuff, any more of the Snyderverse stuff, whether it's on HBO Max or wherever, is that, well, actually, no, let's just say if it's just strictly contained to HBO Max, they don't want people going, oh, I really love this style of DC movies. I really like these types of movies, you know, the kind of the dark, the gritty stuff that feels like DC and doesn't feel like Marvel in any way. Like, if that's the case, and they don't want people preferring a side of DC over the other, maybe I can kind of see that, but at least if you're going to do that, come out with some bullshit that actually looks convincing. You know, don't just say, no, we're happy Zach got to do his trilogy, and that's that. Come up with a legitimate reason as to why you're not going to go forward with it.
I'm just doing a check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, you're perfect. Quick. You're perfect.
All right. We good.
Back in action.
That was official. All right.
Yeah. Now our guest is here.
Just pretend you didn't see anything for the last 5 minutes.
That wasn't me. Like 2 minutes ago.
That was the movie buff tech guy was sorting things out. Now the guest is here.
Awesome.
Man, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I just did a stream.
Yeah, I was watching some of it before I got on here. Yeah.
So yeah, I had a little update because I'm an affiliate of GeekOcityMag.com, and so we update their stories about mostly DC from my angle. So I was like, I got wrapped in some of that. I got to catch up with Sean. I got to get out of here. So we here.
Yeah, and just because we were talking about Dark Side cancellation of the New Gods movie and stuff in the trench, but just to give you kind of a shout out for your channel, like you have your channel's going pretty strong at the moment. You're getting a lot of viewers coming in. I can see it every day. It's increasing.
I just crossed 1K.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's absolute. Congratulations, brilliant.
Crazy.
You had Mikey Sutton on from Geekosity. He's been on a few of the streams. And I apologize, I don't know the guy's name, but I know I watched this from small screen.
Edward,
yeah, him as well. So some of the streams have been interesting. It's getting a lot of viewership, and it's good to see it having some fun with it, man. But the channel is going well, so I just want to say well done to that.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I think that's the thing. I think y'all have realized this too, movie buffs, is that you got to have fun. We love talking about movies and the genres that we love, and like as long as we're doing that, like it's like, it's like second nature, at some point, So so having fun.
It's just fun. But just to get your quick thoughts on the cancellation of, I know you probably talked about on your channel, but about the New Gods and the Trench. Like I've been saying, it's another two to add to the long list of movies that have been cancelled by Warner Brothers. Just never happened. But like, how did it make you feel? What's your kind of thoughts on those two projects?
I had mixed feelings, right? So like, Sean, like I'm real big on restoring the Snyderverse, right? So one angle, you're like, okay, Ava was kind of put in a bad situation to, do Dark Side in opposition to what Zack Snyder was going to do, right? She came in at a time where Zack was not there anymore, and then Zack came back, with AT&T, and so it's like it put her in a tough situation. So at first you're like, yes, like okay, we get more Ray Porter. It's my first thought was like Ray Porter's back, we're gonna get more, right? But then it was like, oh man, that kind of sucks for Ava as an artist, as a creator, because they kind of promised her an epic, New God. So it's mixed feelings. It's mixed, but it goes back to Warner Brothers and not handling their business and not really. And then the Trench part of it was the surprise. James Wan, is really buddy with Hamada. So you cancel James Wan's project, that puts me,
$1 billion director.
Yeah, that puts me like at pause. I'm like, well, okay, what is going on here at this point? So it was surprise all around. Yeah,
and we were talking about as well, myself and Lewis, about like before they were trying to greenlit projects to try and overshadow the Snyder Cut hype, and now they're canceling projects to try and overshine the Snyder Cut hype. So it's pretty weird what they're doing over there. And I have no answers. I don't think anybody has the right answer.
But it's like, you think about how it links to the Snyder Cut, and this is something that we're talking about right at the start, is they had almost a year of knowing that this movie was coming out. From the moment of greenlight, even more than that if they met at the beginning of 2020 or whatever. But like, it's like, okay, well, why now of all times? Is it because everyone, 1.5 million tweets because they want sequels? Maybe it could be something to do with that. Oh, who knows?
Imagine the hype. The Snyder Cuts after coming out, it's a huge hit. Everyone's talking about it. And then you kind of re-greenlit the New Gods movie. And like say, this is going ahead. We're definitely doing it with Ava. Imagine the hype around that. That would be ridiculous. You could say that it's not a complete continuation of what Snyder was doing with Darkseid, but it's the same look, it's the same voice.
More Darkseid.
Yeah, and you can kind of softly reboot the character in a way, just give it its own new backstory, like, do something different with the character, which is fine. We would have been all okay with that because Ray Porter's coming back, the same characters are coming back, and maybe Zack
would have been great.
Yeah, and we would have been hyped. And it would have felt like, this is a continuation of Snyder's world because this is the same actor and stuff. But yeah, it's a bit annoying to see what's going to go ahead over the next few weeks. I'm sure these aren't the last of the announcements and casting announcements and stuff like this. But
you already know more is coming. Like Lewis said, though, it's like it was a shock in a sense where you get more. You figure like you're getting more of this world, but then you're pulling it off the table. So it's like, okay, so what are you really planning at this point? Like, you had all this time to prepare. You knew the Snyder Cut was coming out this whole time. So the idea that it's because the Snyder Cut came out that you removed the New Gods 2 weeks after the Snyder Cut came out, that doesn't make any sense to me, right? And then if y'all saw that article, that Hollywood Reporter article, they actually removed that excuse.
Yeah,
they're not using that excuse anymore. And so I'm glad I caught that live with Mikey Sutton on my stream. Like, we actually pulled up the article. They said it's because he's in the Snyder Cut. Now they're just saying like, we just need, we need to kind of equate how we're going to do like a solo Dark Side appearance. Like, it was a weird explanation.
The audience
they
cannot
copied
handle two
over.
dark sides, but they can handle like 60 Batman. So don't worry about it. You know.
In
Joaquin
one movie,
Phoenix's-
they're gonna have like
yeah,
two
yeah.
in one movie.
When they had
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, they had to spend like 10 years going around knocking on doors saying these are two different actors and showing them
Yeah.
pictures. And then they're like, we can't do that with Darkseid. It would just take too much time.
Oh
you know?
my god!
It's a character they don't
Of all
know,
characters.
so the audience are idiots.
But
That's probably the
new
easiest one to do multiple. Darkseid's probably the easiest one to do multiple of. Actually,
Yeah. Oh, it's like,
And it
if
was-
it's gonna be difficult, just say it's the same fucking character. Like, your job done. You know, you don't have to do anything.
and like multiverse was dropped by Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
You know, in the movie, multiverse. Okay, multiverse. To use it then. If you're I love how
that
Zach
shocked
was
me. When,
yeah,
oh my God.
yeah. But I love because it's so ironic because Zach was the first one to use the word multiverse in his movies, and
Yeah.
DC have been preaching this is the new multiverse world we're building. So Zach got there first before Ahmad, and so I thought that was pretty funny.
But you guys remember the hope and joy we had when Flash turned up alongside, Grant Gustin, and it was like, what the hell? And it was like, I told Victor this was possibly like, what? What?
Oh, what the
Are they
fuck?
actually
What's
committing
that?
to this? And they kept it under wraps, and nobody knew about it, and it was huge. It was like #1 trending on YouTube. Everyone's like, "Whoa, the movies and the CW are interconnected." Now it's like, "Hey, you like Ezra Miller? We're gonna use this film to delete everything you love." And you're like, "How do you do that?" It's actually impressive how horrible a U-turn you managed to do there. But
Yeah, but like, I'm not crying that the New Gods movie isn't happening. Like I said before you came in, I said that look, when they came out, I would have watched them, but I wasn't counting down the days to see the movies or anything like that. You know, and they would have been very expensive, the New Gods movie, because a lot of CGI visual effects, and I think maybe a lot to do with it as well because we're living in a pandemic world where our studio is going to greenlit an unknown character like these New Gods for $300 million budget. It's easy to greenlit a Godzilla versus Kong movie because everyone knows those characters are pretty big, and I think a lot of the greenlit projects that are coming in all studios is going to be huge IPs that come out in cinemas to try and gather people back to the theater. And Godzilla versus Kong is proving that right now, and maybe Black Widow, James Bond, those will be the next.
That's
ones.
a hit right now. Godzilla versus Kong. I mean, they hit in China. I mean, the key is China. If you want a big box office, no matter pandemic or not, you hit in China, you're going to do good, right? So they did really good with that. But with the New Gods, I mean, that's the thing. It's just they're in rare territory where they could have. I think they could have continued with the New Gods. But like you said, I'm not crying over it, that they're not going to do it. So it's like, it's all good, do your thing. They made it clear with the first press release or in the Hollywood Reporter, it's because of the Snyder Cut. So # restore Snyderverse.
Yeah,
but it'd be
exactly.
crazy, like, if that point that Sean was just going on about how if there are all of these reasons, like legitimate reasons, and say, okay, what the budget that we had in mind for it was pretty big, but that was before we got like real deep into a pandemic world. It's just not financially possible, at least not for another couple of years. You know how many people just go, all right, fair enough, and just leave it alone? But instead they just go, hey, I've got an idea. Why don't we pin it all on Darkseid being in Justice League? What?
And I was told by Mikey, those journalists, Boris Kitt and Aaron Couch, are like premium, journalists. And Mikey was like, they would not put any BS out there. So this is what they were told by Warner Brothers at first, that it was because of the Snyder Cut. It's because they're pulling New Gods out. And then they were, I think after the outcry and all the # restore the Snyderverse, the Warner Brothers contacted a Hollywood Reporter and said, now let's abridge that. And so it's literally, that's what they did.
But I don't remember there being usually with a big trade, they would tweet out or something and say, correction, we had to get rid of this. From what I can remember, and I'd love to be wrong on this, I don't remember there being a big tweet saying, oh, correction, we deleted it. Somebody just checked it again and saw that it was gone.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, just like, me and Mikey, we was talking about it like that night. Because I mean, as soon as that announcement came out, it was the middle of my stream, which was like perfect for a live stream. Because it's like breaking news, right?
We're the first to announce it. Yeah, we're the first to get the news.
The stream did great because it's like, everyone's thinking about it. They and then that night we streamed again, and Mikey was like, oh shit, like the article changed. It was like the article changed, but we have it on tape what they had at first.
There you go.
So I was like, wow, amazing. So that's how I market that video. Like, see what they said at first.
It's pretty ridiculous. I don't know, but I'm sure there's more hit pieces to come and more segues away from Snyder's success because still haven't got the numbers. Hopefully they come, but I think they can't escape the Nielsen numbers anyway. They'll come out in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, Coming to America was a pretty big hit for Amazon, and it takes Nielsen around 3 weeks to get all their numbers together and then release a big watching
Nielsen's
numbers. Yeah, they're very good, and even Grace Randolph does videos about them on her channel where it's able to accumulate how many hours people watched a certain show or movie, and there's a ranking. So it will be interesting. Zack Snyder's Justice League course is 4 hours, so I'm sure that will help in its favor as well because like if 3 people to watch it because it's already getting big.
That's a good point because Wonder Woman 84 with the Nielsen got 2 billion minutes, I think, for the opening week or weekend, I believe, which was massive. It crushed the Soul movie on Disney Plus. So Wonder Woman 84 was a success, in that point, But Zack Snyder's Justice League, like I said, 4 hours. It's going to double whatever Wonder Woman 84 does. So I'm expecting about 5 billion minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the. They released the numbers, and let's just theoretically say, touch wood, that it's insane, it's record breaking. How long before you hear that is the Snyder cult just watching it on repeat? That's all that they're doing. No, the general audience is not watching this movie whatsoever.
Russian bots.
Yeah.
Russian bots
it's like it's one thing because obviously the Snyder Cut community is very passionate, and we're gonna watch the movie several times out of enjoyment. But there will be the argument that it's just, as Sean said, Russian bots that just hit play and go back to the start, hit play, go back to the start, hit play, go back to the start.
All right, you better keep releasing stuff for these bots then. Like we're supporting it. I mean, that's my retraction to that. It's like, hey, you're getting this engagement, so keep doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's there's only so much that bots could do, right? There's only so much that they could watch it endlessly. At some point, there's gonna be overflow into the general audience who go, "Oh, this movie's actually released really well. I'm gonna go watch it." And the same thing with the reviews. It's not just a case of, oh, the reason why the Snyder Cut's got these great reviews is because of the cultists who are all just giving it up votes. I'm like, okay, well, that very well may be the case, but it's also a very high possibility that people who hate Zack Snyder are going onto these review sites and giving it 1 star, 2 star. And the
critics like it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. But you think about, if you look at something like IMDb and it's like averaging like 8 out of 10, right? It's so much easier to pull that 8 down by giving it 1 star, 2 star, whatever, than it is to pull it up because there's, just on the basis that there's little room to go up and there's way higher room to go down. So it's like, okay, well, that would have to be millions of people that would be going on and just like, I'm gonna create 10 IMDb accounts. I don't know.
Gotta tank this. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, that's the first thing I said a couple weeks ago when Rotten Tomatoes first came out their numbers. I was like, this is gonna give us a good snapshot of the general critics, people who hate Snyder, like whatever, like slow motion or whatever it is. And they end up like the critic consensus, they like the film. So like, that's a win right there. As soon as I saw that, I was like, this is a win, 70%. That's Zach's highest Rotten Tomatoes mark up to, surprisingly, of all his film catalog. 71%, I think, currently is his highest mark ever. I was like, okay, Zach won. He won because some of the critics that hates him, Scott Middleton gave it a fresh review, and we know he hates Zach. Yeah. So I was like, this is a win. This is a win.
The two of them don't get on whatsoever, but yeah, it was still good to see him give an honest opinion about the movie, and that was good as well. He didn't just hate it for the sake of hating it, but like I think what's going to happen is, just to finish on it, I think the Q1 numbers will come out from HBO Max. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League will be in that, but I don't think the article will say, or the press release won't say Zack Snyder's Justice League numbers. I think it will be Q1 numbers, and Godzilla v Kong will probably be the headline, or Wonder Woman 84. But you have to go into the article, see exactly how Zack Snyder's Justice League did. But that's hiding it. But we're going to blow it up anyway. We're going to say,
Nielsen's going to blow that up.
Because they want the clicks as well. They want the clicks.
Like you said, Q1. The thing is, like, maybe this was WB trying to be sneaky, but they put Godzilla vs Kong on March 31st, which is the last day of Q1, right? So you can't give GvK that much credit for Q1 numbers. You can probably spend Wonder Woman 84 a little bit because that was Christmas, right? Going into Q1. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is like right there and that should be the bulk of whatever subscriptions they get. So looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it goes. But speaking of Godzilla v Kong, will we segue to the next topic?
That was good. That was good.
Good segue.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't spoil anything too major in this because the film's only out a few days, and not everyone can get to a theater.
Let me hold back.
We've all seen it here, but not everyone has HBO Max, or not everyone has a streaming platform to watch it on, or go to the theater. So just be respectful. Yeah, we'll just be respectful of those people. But look, basically, I like the movie. It's not great. It could have been better. I thought it was a fine movie. It's not an epic. I was expecting more of an epic. I think the fight scenes, the visual effects were all pretty good and badass. The plot was a bit boring, a bit hard to follow. I thought the human characters were very uninteresting. I didn't care about them. I didn't care if they lived or they died. And like, if you go back to Skull Island, which is a movie I really like, it had the perfect amount of action, monsters, and human characters, which were interesting. John C. Reilly's character had a background. Samuel L. Jackson's character had a background. You actually cared for them. In this one, I couldn't give a shit about Alexander Skarsgård. I wanted them, when they were on human characters, like, just get back to Godzilla versus Kong or Godzilla versus somebody, just show me some action. The little girl was actually pretty good, and it's ironic because she's the one character who couldn't speak. She's deaf in real life and she's deaf in the movie. I thought she was really good. Yeah. And our interaction with Khan was awesome. So the action sequences were brilliant. I thought the movie was a little bit too short. The action sequences could have been a bit longer with more action, and maybe introducing some of the monsters from King of the Monsters, even just a look at them to see where they are right now. It would have expanded this world big time. But it was a fine movie. I enjoyed it. Thought it could have been better. That's kind of my thoughts on it. What do you guys think?
Well,
no,
you go.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, I'll go. I'm the guest. So
yeah. But I was trying to interrupt Sean and say you can go first, but he just kept talking.
You should be used to that now. I was like, no, I kind of agree. Yeah, what Sean is saying as far as it's an enjoyable film. So like, if I'm doing like some kind of rating, and I gave it a 7 out of 10 as far as just it was enjoyable. It started off. I think the first act was a little choppy to me, just quite personally. I know it's trying to establish the whole relationship with Kong and a little girl, and I remember it's not spoiler, right? So, but the first act was just a little choppy to me. It picked up, I think, second act, more Godzilla action. I'm Team Kong though, so I'm Team Kong. So, but as far as the human actors, so Rebecca Hall is probably the only human I cared about because she was the actress who had the relationship with the little girl. Right. Yeah. She was the only one that like made sense in the film because she was there for every story beat. And she's a great actress too. Rebecca Hall is great. She was in Iron Man 3. She was in other things. So
The Town as well.
Yeah, The Town. So she's a great actress to me. So, she knows how to like kind of like, I mean, it's not hard to own a scene with a little girl who can't talk. I mean, just not being funny about that, but I'm just saying, like, she owned every scene she was in. So, but that's the only human character. There's a lot of human characters. We'll probably talk about this later. That was kind of cut down. Isaac Gonzalez is like a travesty. You have Isaac Gonzalez. You should like milk that for the entire film. They didn't, but I digress on that. But as far as the film itself, great action. Godzilla vs. Kong, I think their fights was everything I thought it would be. I think both sides of the argument will be satisfied actually with this film because they both had their moment of triumph. I'll just say that. But it did leave something to be desired. Like at the end, can we say Martha moment? I don't know, but just it's an enjoyable film. It needs to be seen in theaters. Though I saw it on HBO Max first, and I was like, okay, it's solid. And I went to the theaters the next day, and I was like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to see this film. So if you can get to theaters, if it's safe for you, I encourage you to do that. It's a popcorn film, so it's enjoyable.
I think I would have appreciated a little bit more if I got to see it on the big screen. I got to see it on my small TV at home, and I think you can get distracted easily, especially when the plot isn't as interesting. If you're in the theaters, you're really into it, and then the action looks a lot better. But it's one that probably would have been better in theaters.
Yeah.
I will say, I think my biggest grievance of the film is the injustice to Godzilla's classic roar. Like, it's used a lot in the movie, and I was waiting for that. Say what people can say what they will about the first Godzilla movie, but the tone and the atmosphere of that whole film was perfect in my opinion. And the first moment you get to see Godzilla in all his glory and his scream at the airport or his roar at the airport, it's one of the best moments of any movie I've ever seen. It's spine chilling. You just feel the sense of scale, right? So this movie, I was waiting for that big that big roar moment, and it doesn't really happen. So that was my biggest grievance to the movie. But that's being nitpicky. But overall, I was the same. Popcorn movie. It was good. It was enjoyable. Felt bad for being Team Godzilla at times, if I'm honest. But I had my reasons. I was like getting into the movie. I was like, oh god, they're gonna make me feel so bad for rooting for Godzilla, aren't they? But at the end of the day, I had to keep reminding myself though. For the first hour, I had to keep reminding myself that, oh god, this is a sequel to King of the Monsters, isn't it? Like, I'm gonna get to see Godzilla again. Oh my god. But there are a couple of, I think this has to be like one of the most visually stunning movies I've ever seen. It's got some beautiful shots in it. I think there's a shot with Kong there's a couple of shots where Kong's on the boat that are really good. The underwater shot that is just, I really love it. With you've got Kong and Godzilla in there together, and it's one of my favorite. The amount of times I was watching it and I wanted to just go, oh my god, that looks so good. There's like the one where Kong's on the boat and there's a jet flying off, and you've got Kong in the background. You get some first person shots as well, which I thought were really, really cool for a film like this. But yeah, the fights were everything I'd wanted them to be. In all fairness, I thought they really hit the nail on the head. But yeah, human characters. I think the whole Millie Bobby Brown arc could just be completely cut out. I didn't see really any utility in that whatsoever. It could have all been. I can't remember what the actors did. The guy who's playing Bernie. It could have just been him for the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's got he's working in this company and he's going to uncover some stuff, and like it could have just been him entirely. Especially when you think about, and this is like a 20% spoiler, so it's not a real spoiler, but so mute the stream for I'll wave when I finish my point. All right, okay, so mute now. I'll give you a second. Mute now. And okay, the fact that Kyle Chandler is in this for 10 seconds is like, okay, well, he's her dad. You got the whole arc with that, and he's just not in this film. Okay, it's safe. People, I can wave.
You got your check, bro.
Yeah. But it's but this is the thing. We've seen, I think a lot of things have come out since this film saying that, oh yeah, it's not the ideal film. There's a lot that was cut. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people are finding of sets that weren't used, that weren't in the final film. The fact that a film like this was under 2 hours is quite strange. It
was under 2 hours.
It was, I believe so. It was 1
wow.
hour, 50,
153.
Yeah,
153.
Wow.
So
interesting.
Yeah, so there's a lot. There's we're getting a Snyder Cut vibe again, maybe perhaps not as negative circumstances as the Snyder Cut, but yeah, there's a lot of shady shit coming out with this movie. But when you consider how very little some characters are in it, is it Lance Reddick, the guy from John Wick?
Lance Reddick from Fringe.
He was literally in it.
John Wick.
Yeah, he was
John Wick
in it for a cameo, and they were talking. The director was like, he was top billed of the movie because he's a big fucking actor, right?
And he's a brilliant actor.
He's amazing. As soon as I saw him for the first time, I was like, I can't wait to see what he's gonna do. Oh, that's it. Right.
Yep, that's it.
It's just so it's it's very strange. There are a lot of things, and I think that was the moment in the movie where I thought, hang on. This is Warner Bros. We're talking about, right? Okay, dude.
2 hour mandate.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with that.
Yeah, Adam Wingard is a director.
Adam Wingard, yeah.
He's a studio director because he's getting a lot of work right now. And the same producer who I forget his name, but he did a film with Netflix called Death Note. I think was the name of the movie. It was an adaptation of the book or the anime series or something like that. And the same producer who was on that movie got him this movie here, Godzilla vs. Kong, and that same producer has just got him Thundercats as well.
Okay.
So
Thundercats,
yeah. So he's obviously a studio's director, so he isn't going to come out and say, my movie was 2.5 hours. This is what I was wanting to do. He's not going to throw Warner Bros. Under the bus because they're giving him a lot of work right now. Now maybe that might change 5-10 years from now. He might fall out with Warner Bros. He might say that there's another cut of the movie. So he's not going to come out and say there's a director's cut.
But luckily the film was received really well. So
yeah,
I think
that's
that
the thing. Yeah,
I think he'd be a bit more obvious with it if maybe it got absolutely blasted, because I think he said a couple of things, or somebody says this, somebody has said that. There've been members of the cast on Twitter who have said, yeah, I had a lot more in this film that's been cut out. So Yeah, I think it's. But it begs the question: what would have happened if Justice League was a success? You know, would Zack have just gone, "All right, well, that's it," you know?
Well, the studio are treating it like it was a success. They're saying it's canon, you know. So it's a.
Thank God it was ripped apart. Let's just put it like that, I guess.
Yeah. Thank God we knew.
Like Jessica Henwick from Iron Fist, she was completely cut, I think, from this film. I don't remember even seeing her in this film. I'm just gonna say that.
But a Sam Benjamin 2.0 type thing, where it's like, I've got this big arc. Nope.
Yeah, she was literally cut from the film, so it's like I didn't even see her character. And then I say Isa Gonzalez, I think she went on record on Twitter. That's on record now, I guess. But to say that her character had more development because she literally, I'll keep it not spoiler, right? But she just literally kind of showed up, it had nothing to add to the film except.
Well, the inverse of that for me was kind of thinking like, oh, okay, maybe this is the directors listened to people's criticisms and just said, I'm going to give you fuck all with these humans, and I'm just going to give you monkey v lizard. That's what you want to see.
That would have worked if you didn't cast Lance Reddick and Isa Gonzalez and Jessica Henwick. If you didn't cast them, or Millie Bobby in there as well. If you didn't have all these human like solid actors and actresses, then I would buy that. But you had all of them in this film, and you like shelved all their contributions. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
Like when I said I didn't care for the characters, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the actors or anything. Like they're all great actors, and I love them.
It's a fantastic cast. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's just there was nothing to care about them because we didn't get any development with them. We didn't get any background. And look at a movie like Skull Island, as I talked about. Samuel L. Jackson's character is on a huge journey. You can see him. He's nearly annoyed, like not annoyed, but the war is over and he has to deal with this new life. But then he finds a new war, which is King Kong. I love that arc. Then John C. Reilly's character, and then John C. Reilly's character, you got a flashback at the very start of the movie where he's during World War I or II. He gets thrown onto this island. He's fighting a Japanese soldier as well. Then Khan comes up, and then you see him later on in the movie as an older character. And then the post-credit scene where he's reunited with his family. You actually care for the characters. But here you didn't have anything to care about. I bet you there was a lot cut out because even the opening scene, Godzilla does what it's in the trailer. Godzilla's attacking cities. It just happened. There was no background. There was no attention to why is Godzilla doing this, and nobody even seemed to question why is Godzilla doing this. It just seemed, he's gone bad. He's evil now. Like,
they kind of played that up. Like, I mean, again, it's the whole Godzilla versus Kong, the V Kong thing that's going on right there. So it's like. It needed an explanation, and then they kind of shoehorned in dialogue to say, "Oh, this person won this round." I was like, "That was cheap. It was very cheap, just the dialogue." And then y'all know what I'm talking about. So it was very cheap dialogue. I think they did that to kind of purpose cutting out a lot of a story, and I just this should have been like a 9 out of 10 film. Like as I was watching it, when you get to the action. Even the Godzilla parts, like whatever his mission was, it should have been given more purpose, And this is as a Team Kong guy. Like I wanted Godzilla to like mean more in this film, and because they gave a lot of story to Kong with the little girl. They gave him a lot of motivation in the story.
It was like a sequel to Skull Island than a sequel to King of the Monsters.
Yeah. Exactly. And I don't think that's what this film should have been. Actually, it should have been both. It should have been Godzilla's arc, and so I think they cut out a lot of Godzilla's story. That will we see it? I don't know.
But there's a part of me that thinks like back to a model of something like this would be, sure I get ripped apart for saying this, but BVS in the sense of if you're gonna have the two arcs done in the kind of imbalanced way, because this BVS is definitely leans more towards Batman, but that's kind of the point in that Superman doesn't have a chance to defend himself. He doesn't have a chance to tell his side of the story. Every chance he gets is taken away from him. The world's being turned against him. That's the point of the movie, right?
Yep.
But nobody's doing this with Godzilla. There's not some evil mastermind going, I'm going to make people think Godzilla is evil. It's like, that doesn't quite work. So Godzilla, as you say, you're right. Godzilla needs an arc that mirrors Kong. Otherwise, you just kind of like feel bad for wanting Godzilla to win. And then it's just...
Right. Godzilla Superman is what Lewis just said.
I think I'm right.
But you got a good point with that, yeah.
Context is everything. Look what 30 minutes did to Batman v Superman in the Ultimate Edition. Huge. Like, look what a new cut of Justice League did for the 2017 version. It's huge, and you actually care for the characters. And even a bad comic book movie, like say the theatrical cut of Daredevil, I have the director's cut on DVD, and it's a much better film because it's fleshed out more. You feel for the characters. There's more development, and I bet you there is a cut. There's a director's cut of every single movie. Every single movie there's a director's cut. But with Godzilla v Kong, with Batman v Superman, you add in that extra 30 minutes or even 25 minutes. It could even just be 20 minutes. It adds a lot to the characters and to the story. And it could actually turn Godzilla versus Kong from a fine film into actually a really great film. So you just never know what exactly is cut out. And if you're going to go the action route, that's fine. Go the action route, but maybe a little bit longer. I thought maybe more action would have been cooler as well in a way.
Yeah, this needed like 45 more minutes. Like if it's sitting at 150, whatever the number is, it needed like close to 3 hours for two colossal monster characters in there, and like they relied again on too much human dialogue to explain. I like to see things develop. Kong. I like this. I mean, I don't want to say too much, but just kind of like he's discovering his surroundings and kind of. I like that more. Yeah. If you show me Godzilla doing that instead of relying on it's in the trailer. The actor said, the actor said Godzilla's attacking people. We don't know why.
Yeah.
I want to see Godzilla doing that and kind of discovering why he's attacking. That would be a better movie to me.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's all we can say non-spoilery about the movie. It's a fine movie. Definitely go check it out. It's not a waste of your time, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good way to spend 2 hours.
Still enjoyable.
100%. Yeah. It's a very enjoyable movie. It's just there are the little things beneath the surface where you're like,
it's more there. Like the whole time you're watching, it's more to even the human characters. I mean, except Millie Bobby. I don't know if she would have added anything more to the movie, but all the other human characters would have added more, I think, to this film.
Yeah, I always thought that the director of Skull Island should have directed this movie because I thought he would have been perfect for the action popcorn stuff. Yeah. The monster universe is very disconnected. It's each movie is very different from the last, and it has a new vision from the directors. And some directors set up stuff, other directors don't, just completely ignore it. It's a very weird universe.
But I'm super happy that each of these movies exist because. Yeah. In their own right, I think each movie is fantastic, and like I know people say stuff like King of the Monsters is just an overload. I don't care. That's exactly what I want from Godzilla.
Love that.
Yeah, I want to see Godzilla fighting all of these guys. I thought like Ghidorah was terrifying in that movie.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to see. Yeah, it's epic.
It's an epic.
It gets the scale right. Like you want to see. Like I don't want to see this movie being like calm down with human characters and stuff like that. Like, no, I want to see these guys fighting all the time. And I thought that the human arcs actually contribute to the plot to an extent in King of the Monsters. So I'm happy with that. And I personally have always got a soft spot for the first Godzilla movie because of the fact that it's just the tone and the darkness of that movie. I just love it. Like the Halo jump, and it's darkness all the time, and Godzilla is treated as this like mythical being. I need to rewatch that. It's just so good.
Yeah. If you guys could pick, right? No disrespect to Adam Wingard, he's the director. He's doing something that none of us, no offense, probably might never do, is direct a huge film like this. He's
he's living the dream. He's living the dream.
He's a brilliant. But if you're given the IP Godzilla versus King Kong, who do you guys pick to direct the movie?
I like the Skull Island guy. I forget his name off the top of the head.
Yeah, it's Roberts. Roberts.
Yeah, because he kept it very visceral, and that's what I think. I mean, it was moments in this film where you got that visceral action, but Adam Wingard is popcorn to me, which is not bad. I'm not saying that as a bad term. It just he wants to appease to the audience, and he did that. He accomplished what he wanted to do with this film. So I want to make that clear,
nearly 300 million at the box office already.
Yeah. So he accomplished, he hit the mandate, the 2-hour mandate. He accomplished it. Did Godzilla get shitted on a little bit? Yeah, probably. But he accomplished what he did. But the Skull Island guy, I think would have had just a little more grittier feeling to it, and probably a little more human element because he brought in, like I said, the Samuel L. Jackson angle as well. So just personally,
yeah. Lewis, who'd you go for?
Like, this is I can say the one answer that would make people just go, of course, and say Zack Snyder should direct this movie because it'd be fucking insane. But
That's easy though.
Yeah,
that's easy
yeah.
to say that.
But I'll go with other easier answers as well, and I'd say Gareth Edwards, or I can't remember who did King of the Monsters, but because just maybe, yeah, I don't know. I will always come back to the first Godzilla movie as just like what I think Godzilla should be depicted as in a movie. As I think it really sets the bar for, you're getting glimpses of it. But I know Godzilla v Kong isn't that type of movie, but I think it would be a bit more appreciative of the scale of Godzilla. In that first movie, him just using like his fire breath or whatever was treated as this climax moment. It was treated as this ex machina moment to save Aaron Taylor Johnson. It was this holy shit is actually happening. The build up, the intensity. It really felt like this really huge payoff. And I'm like, that's what I want from Godzilla. Same time with King of the Monsters, I also just want to see him beating the shit out of other monsters all the time because that's great fun. So maybe get Gareth Edwards for the first 2/3 of this movie, and then for the final act, get King of the Monsters again, just for the the slapping up and all that shit. But I know it seems very surface level with my directorial picks, but I don't give a shit.
I'm as a producer.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys the right answer. Here's the right answer coming up right now. But no, like, keeping the same visual effects crew score, keeping all that kind of stuff, but the visual effects team absolutely fantastic.
Oh, beautiful movie, fantastic.
Yeah.
But one aspect of the movie that I think, two aspects that could have been improved with this director, and I think he would have did it, especially the comedy. The comedy was flat in this movie for me. I didn't laugh that much at all. It was very poor. They should have, if they were going to do reshoots, should have brought in someone like Seth Rogen to rewrite the comedy moments, or someone who was a really good comedic writer, because the jokes felt flat. But I think for Godzilla versus Kong, one of the most perfect directors would be Michael Bay, just for the action.
I knew you were going to say it. As soon as he started doing that action, I was like,
I'm going, Michael Bay doing Godzilla versus Kong. At least the comedic moments, Shia LaBeouf running around making jokes would be kind of funny. And you would have the action would just be used. Yeah, that's my pick. I'm standing by that. 10-15 years from now in the reboot, Michael Bay is the guy to do it.
I mean, if you want like bombastic, crazy action,
explosions.
Have him as a consultant. Just have Michael Bay as a consultant from here on out. Even with Transformers, I don't want him directing. I know the Transformers film.
I love his Transformers movies.
That's another film I ever saw. The first Transformers movie. Well, I mean, the first three, I think I have a bit of a soft spot for. But the first Transformers, definitely. I think like, I mean, that was like, I want to say like 2007, 2008 or something like that.
That was a while ago,
The visual effects on that were fantastic.
It still stands up really good.
Exactly. Like I would easily go back to the first Transformers any day of the week. But yeah, I mean for over the top crazy action and Godzilla v Kong, yeah, I mean maybe for the action scenes.
That's why we're going. That's why we're going, just to watch these guys fight.
Producer Michael Bay, not director. I don't want him directing the whole film. No.
But I didn't like. I should say I didn't like Transformers 5. I think it was the last night. Thought that was poor.
Everyone didn't like that. Yeah,
he kept switching the aspect ratio for some reason. But I will say the last night is probably the most beautiful film he's shot. It looks, cinematography is absolutely brilliant. It's just everything around it is just weird.
It's a crappy film.
Yeah. Yeah. It's even I'll admit that's poor. But the first four are masterpieces. Anyway, next topic is have you seen Godzilla, or have you seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yes.
Okay, so Lewis hasn't.
I have not.
For some reason.
Warner Bros. Paid me a lot of money. That's all I can say.
Those shield checks.
Yeah.
But just to hit this show quick, we won't spoil it because Lewis is here and maybe someone else hasn't seen it. But just your kind of thoughts on the first 3 episodes. Are you enjoying the show so far?
Yeah, first 3 episodes, like I said, with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm a fan of all cinematic universes. So I if people see my channel, I come across as a hardcore DC only guy, but I like all superhero genre films. Period. Falcon and Winter Soldier, it definitely dives you into that world, from the first episode. And was it Anthony Mackie? He's a brilliant actor. I think he's very awesome in the series. It's really setting up almost like WandaVision, where you need like 3 or 4 episodes to kind of get the traction of the series. I think with Falcon and Winter Soldiers, I think it's only 6 episodes, so they better kick it up. This is next episode, right? But because we had 3, but it dives you into the world. It gives you a good backstory of Sam Wilson, the whole issue with the shield and is he going to take it? Great stuff set up. I'm waiting for the payoff, but we're like right in the middle of the series. So that's kind of where we're at. It's like it's a good backstory. It gives you good action, some callbacks, from the Marvel world. You get a few characters coming back, which is cool. So we're at that midpoint where we need like that Quicksilver moment that WandaVision had to kind of jumpstart it. So I'm positive on the series. Like I said, I look forward to every Friday to watch it. And they just gotta kind of keep me interested starting next week. They're on the clock.
This episode is dedicated to you. It's just like an hour of exposition. Just dump information, move the plot along, kill these people. Let's move on.
It's just like Sile, keep watching. Keep watching.
Yep.
But I've been enjoying it. I think it's hitting some interesting themes. We've got about racism, PTSD, depression, stuff like that. And hopefully there is payoff, because I thought the first 2 episodes did brilliantly in conveying that. But episode 3 didn't really have any of that stuff whatsoever. So I hope they come back to it, because it's very important. And I like how they set it up, especially with Sam and his family and him out of the Falcon costume. And especially with Bucky dealing with all his past traumas as well. So interesting. The last episode was not more of an R-rated episode. With actually lots of blood, which I was surprised. I was actually taken back by. And I think it enhanced the action a little bit, made it feel more real. And I'm actually enjoying this show more than WandaVision, because WandaVision was more of a mystery. It's like, what does this mean? It's very weird. This is more of a narrative story, political thriller, and I'm really into it right now. And I think the writing team and the director have done an amazing job so far to really get me into the story. 3 episodes left. The episodes are a little bit longer. They're 45-50-minute episodes. It feels like it feels like a movie. It's a movie scale. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's really well done, and it doesn't really necessarily feel like the other MCU movies. It's kind of more in line with Winter Soldier and that kind of.
The action feels like Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
once it kind of picks up, it's pretty good.
Yeah, so I'd encourage people to watch it, because it actually is very entertaining. But Lewis, why haven't you watched it yet, man?
I mean, there's a lot of money coming in. That's all I can say. There are pieces moving. I can't really talk. A lot of hush money, to say the least.
That's funny.
Actually, I directed the whole series, so I don't need to watch it.
Well, when you get to watch it, you're going to be watching like a 3-hour movie, because the 3 episodes are an hour long. And
exactly. The Snyder Cut ruined small content for me, so I gotta wait until I can watch it all at once. And that's how it works.
Imagine we had only chapters of that Snyder Cut. Like, that would have been like stinging every week.
Yeah.
Like,
every week, you just like, especially as like the best bit about the Snyder Cut is one of the most consistent things that I've seen is how so many people said the 4 hours just flew by, right?
Yeah.
I think if you tried to break that up into 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it would have just been this massive teasing, like, come on, a little bit more. And, but who knows how it would have been edited if it was a TV show? It could be completely changed the order if you want to have all of these like opening character scenes, intros, backstories at the start, and then move on to it's.
It flowed so well as a movie. It's 4 hours. Like I couldn't stop. Like, there's no way I was pausing after the first chapter. I wanted to watch more of this movie because it was crazy. But but that's our thoughts on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have some side topics then to finish off. We've all seen the Space Jam trailer that came out yesterday. Yes. So I just say that I was always a fan of the original. Watched it when I was younger. Loved it, of course. Looney Tunes, funny. Michael Jordan. I didn't even know who he was when I was a kid, but I loved him in the movie anyway. But this has been in development for a long time. I think 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago, they came to LeBron James about doing a number 2. They've actually been trying to do a number 2 since the original came out, but it never happened. Looney Tunes Back in Action with Brendan Fraser happened. Wasn't as big as a hit as the original, so they moved on from the movie aspect, but they're back now. It was greenlit in 2016. LeBron James's production is also attached to it. He's a movie production as well. He actually has a movie coming out. I don't know if it's going to come out this year or next year, but with Adam Sandler. It's a basketball movie where Adam Sandler is playing a scout. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a good movie. It's a serious movie. And so this one's coming out in July, I think. Space Jam 2, The New Legacy. It looks like a Space Jam movie. It looks fun. Basketball, some cameos. Sign me up. I thought the score was brilliant. I got hyped watching it. So I'll be there watching Space Jam, and I absolutely can't wait. But Si, what was your thoughts on Space Jam? And were you a fan of the original?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the original, definitely. I mean, a good callback to the original Space Jam soundtrack. So I did like that. It's interesting that in the trailer it showed LeBron James in cartoon form, which that's a perfect way to to have LeBron while he's playing in his NBA season, but have him do some voiceovers, right? So that's perfect. Yes. What they did setting that up, so he can complete the whole film. But no, I'm excited for it. I'm not expecting. I mean, I'm expecting just like the original Space Jam, but with LeBron, new generation, and that's what I think this trailer kind of delivered on. And he was kind of in the trailer. He kind of wrote down Superman somewhere on there. Yeah. So I'm expecting like all Warner Brothers properties to show up. You got Iron Giant. You got everything in this film.
King Kong's in it.
Yeah, I even heard like rumors like Harley Quinn may show up. I don't know. That's just everything Warner Bros. Is on the table for this film. So very excited. So it did what it needed to do to get me excited for this film, and it's on HBO Max. So I was going to watch it anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And Lewis, were you a fan of the original? Or?
Yeah. Again, it's a way back thing, but I think the one thing that helps it a lot is it has like this cult following. It's like people are a lot of people.
I don't know where'd they come from, right? Yeah.
But it's like so it's a lot. So it's nice to see them doubling down, I guess, on the essence of the original. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to do it. I think it was. I don't know if you tweeted it out, Sean, or it was talking about how, being able to have your main star of the movie share this out to like hundreds of millions of people, the reach on that trailer alone. So many
followers.
Yeah. It's that is your marketing in and of itself. And it's something that a film like Black Adam is obviously gonna thrive off as well.
Oh my God.
Dwayne Johnson just having access to all of these people. But I mean, it gets you excited, It's like, it's okay. Warner Bros. That could be happy stuff. Not give me Justice League 2 and 3. Thank you very much. But I'm not going to make everything about Snyderverse because I'm not an asshole. I'm a tiny bit of an asshole, but not that much. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I thought it was a good, fun trailer and it should be a good, fun movie.
Yeah, and it's their own multiverse movie with every character.
Yeah, it's like, I just saw like different iterations of like Penguin in the trailer, and it's like, but no Darkseid. Oh, okay, here we go again.
Space Jam can have a multiverse. Zack Snyder just can. Okay, but I won't be a dick about it either. I'll just make jokes about it.
No, it's a separate entity. It's like leave that alone. It should be good though. It does look like a lot of fun. I'm sure people.
I'm gonna have fun with it.
Yeah. I think it's going to benefit as well because, like, people who grew up in the movie might have kids now, so they're going to watch it because kids, and they go to the theaters or watch it at home. So I think it will do well, and I think it actually will be a big hit.
That's one film I may go to theaters actually for that because I finally got back to theaters with Godzilla vs Kong since Tenet last year. This is my first film I actually got back to theaters, and so I'm gonna try to support some of these films, and Space Jam. I may go to theaters for that.
Yeah. So it's definitely one we'll keep our eye on. I'm sure it'll just be a lot of fun more than that. It'll probably be funny too. Bugs Bunny is when he popped up and said, "What's up, Doc?" Even though I've heard it a million times, I laughed. I just laughed.
And it feels like a Warner Brothers commercial because, like,
that's essentially LeBron what it is.
Yeah, he's like, "What in the Matrix hell is this?" I was like, "Okay, this is totally Warner Brothers."
They've got like a huge checklist, like a huge whiteboard on set. They have to cross off films whenever they've referenced them.
And Zendaya is Lola Bunny.
Yes.
So that's going to bring her followers into this. This is going to be a huge film.
Yeah.
Because Zendaya is like a super duper star at this point. So she's a wonderful actress. So
yeah, big time. I don't know what other cameos were in store for, but once word gets out that this cameo is in the movie, like remember when Suicide Squad came out, it was the word that Flash is in the movie, so more people go and see it again or go and see the movie. Batman's in it. That helps the movie. A cameo does help. And I think if Henry Cavill was actually in Shazam, that would have made a little bit more money because it's actually the character, not his body. But the other trailer that came out was Black Widow. Black Widow's coming out in July as well, I think, on Disney Plus on premium rate of $30. Now I don't know if I'm going to pay the $30 because for me it's a bit steep to pay $30 to watch a movie.
On top of a monthly subscription as well. That's a bit of a dick move. But
and I have Netflix as well. I have Apple TV, so I come on, I can't be paying for a streaming service and a movie. but I'm looking forward to the movie. The last trailer that came out, the new trailer, I thought was pretty good. The one part I didn't like was kind of the Taskmaster was shooting an arrow towards the car. It goes underneath the car and it blows up the car. I think Winter Soldier did that in Winter Soldier. It was the same
they had
kind of
an
scene.
explosive under the car.
Yeah,
Right.
it was too familiar for me, so I didn't like. That's the only thing I didn't like.
But I guess isn't that like meant to be the whole point of Taskmaster is that he
copying?
Maybe, yeah, that's a good point. It could be. That's actually.
But
a good
then,
point. Actually,
like an annoying part of like this is the only like gripe I kind of have with that, and again, this may just be me being unfair on the movie is I wouldn't like it if the character or the movie is dependent on all of that because I don't know, the trailer was very, hey look, Black Widow's been in like 40 other movies. You remember those movies, guys? You remember those movies?
Right.
And I felt like it would be a bit of a stupid idea to show her death in Endgame to then be like, hey, come and watch this movie. It's like, maybe you could have done this one before she died, so that people would actually think there are some stakes involved in it.
It feels so off. This film, I mean, like I said, the trailer itself. I know Sean is talking about the trailer, but
yeah, we're getting a bit deeper here.
The trailer itself, is excellent. Like, I'm going to most likely go to the theaters to see it instead of paying $30 for the premium because I pay about $8 to see it in theaters. Yeah. So I may do that with my popcorn and drink. So I'll probably add it for $30 at the theaters, right? So I'm gonna do that. But then as far as it's sold what it needs to do. But yeah, it's something about me like Lewis is saying with the story placement. It does kind of take you out of the relevance of the film, because it's like this should have probably came before Endgame, like just the placement of the film, but instead of Captain Marvel, but it is what it is.
But it's like you have a very great character, then you have a loved character, and this like ruthless assassin but throughout the movies that she's been in, we've seen cracks in her, like becoming a bit more emotional, a bit more attached to other people. And it's like, okay, you've got like complexity to your character there a little bit. And it's like, oh, now she's dead. Now we're going to give her a solo movie. Like, what? It's like, it works different with like, I don't know, Wonder Woman, when you see her in BVS, and then you're like, oh, I want to see more of her. Do it. You have her solo movie. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's what they was going for, actually. I think that's what they was going for, Lewis. It's the Wonder Woman effect where you see the current day, well, let's flashback. And it's like, I get it, but it's not landing.
It might add more weight to her sacrifice in Endgame when we see background. But if it came out before Endgame, the Endgame scene would have felt a lot more.
But it could have been one of those ones where people are like, oh, they are only giving her a solo movie. They're probably going to kill her in Endgame, aren't they, to make us more attached?
But it would have worked.
It would have.
Probably would have been on par with Tony Stark's sacrifice.
I like the character, but I didn't care as much as when she died. Because I never really got that much time with her as a character.
It was more like, oh shit, like
yeah. So maybe it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation. Yeah, but I couldn't help but feel that it's maybe a tiny bit insulting to the character to go through all this point and say, okay, now you're out of the picture. Now I'll give you a solo movie where there's essentially no stakes involved for your character because we know you're going to be fine. Like, unless there's some kind of weird twist where they're like, oh, she's going to die and then we're going to make Florence Pugh Black Widow and she's going to like steal a face or some shit.
Face swap.
Yeah. And I'm like, but then you're saying that the Black Widow that we've seen in like the last two movies wasn't actually her. And then,
oh man, I hope they don't do that.
So yeah, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, but it's a bit of like a bad taste in your mouth, I guess. And
Scarlett Johansson is probably the Rushmore Mountain of comic book female heroes because she was basically the first, really. Because, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Resident Evil was a comic book, was it? With Mila Djokovic, was that just from the games, or was it comics from the games?
Well?
Yeah. So like, Scarlett Johansson was kind of the first because she was successful in the movies that she was in, and then Wonder Woman comes, then Captain Marvel comes, and then she's given her own solo movie. So it should have happened probably a decade ago or even 5 years ago, Scarlett Johansson, because she probably is the one who made it popular female hero.
Actually, after Civil War, I think they should have done, the Black Widow film. But
yeah, so it's but we're looking forward to it. We'll watch it, and definitely that scene in the sky where her and Taskmaster are fighting, having an air fight, skydiving fight. You have to see that on the big screen, I think.
I'm excited for Taskmaster. Like, I'm actually excited for what he's going to do. It looks pretty cool.
It's like there's a fine line between like being an absolutely fantastic badass character or just kind of riding off stuff. Like, this is one of my and this is to completely derail the conversation. One thing I didn't like about Rogue One was that it just felt like Star Wars fan service for 2 hours. And I know there's loads of people who love Rogue One, but for me, I really did not enjoy it. But that's another stream. So I don't want it to be like one of those ones where it's like, this is a character like, look, guys, he's doing the thing like Black Panther did. Look, he's got a bow and arrow. Look, guys, you remember these other characters? But the flip side of that is that he has potential to be a really fucking, versatile, dynamic, awesome villain. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll all watch it.
Pull off his mask and it'll be Tobey Maguire and everyone will be like,
oh, Spider-Verse.
Multiverse is here, bro.
It's Mephisto. Mephisto's
Not that again. I can't do that again.
Yeah.
We spent too many hours on this show talking about our theories for WandaVision, only to be massively wrong.
None of it happened.
Literally none of it happened. It couldn't have been any more wrong, but
we had fun. That was the main thing.
Yeah.
But the last topic that we can talk about before we knock it off is the new Suicide Squad trailer came out, the second one.
It did.
And it was coming with you got to see it in theaters, so did you get to see it in cinemas, the trailer?
Did I see that in the trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong? I'm trying to think. I think I saw that before Godzilla vs. Kong. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
I think it was attached to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it leaked, and then they released it online. But I thought it felt, even though it was a PG-13 one, the last one was Red Band. This felt a lot darker, this trailer, and it felt more of a DC movie, especially the voiceover. Some of the shots.
The Red Band was a better trailer. Yeah.
Do you think the first one was a better trailer?
The Red Band was a better trailer. Yeah.
Oh, you think so? Okay. I honestly think the second one for me was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. But even though I was pumped before anyway, but I was excited. But the second one showed a little bit more. Captain Boomerang has a few more scenes, a little bit more John Cena's Peacemaker. Harley Quinn, of course, is going to be the star of the movie anyway. So she's going to headline it, and a little bit more Starro. So, but I was already excited for the movie, but I thought the second one felt more like a DC movie. But James Gunn's excuse was that they wanted to show audiences that there's different aspects of this movie, and this is one tone, and this is another tone of the movie. I thought it was a bit weird to have two trailers within a week of each other coming out, new trailers. Personally, I think it was to get rid of the hype for the Snyder Cut, but that's another story in its own. But
there's been some detective work into the 150 million number, whether that was...
Yeah, I don't know if that's true either. 150 million is the new record.
I mean, I'd love it if that was the case. A DC movie, R-rated movie that does really well. It's like, hey, if only there was another R-rated DC movie that somebody tried to make a few years ago. But whatever, So I love it if there is that hype. I'd love it if there's the hype, but it seems a bit.
Yeah.
It'd be nice for a breakdown of the numbers, but we can't all have the numbers.
Yeah, but I don't think James Gunn decided to say it was the most viewed trailer. I think someone told him, Warner Brothers, obviously, and he just tweeted it out. But Lewis, you got to see the trailer. What did you think of the second one?
Well, I'm a boy with you actually. I think I prefer the second trailer. I think the first one, I don't know. It's just kind of like the pacing of it. I think seems a bit off. It just feels like one of those trailers that kind of keeps going, and you're like, I don't know. I always look back at something like the BVS Comic-Con trailer, or maybe one of the Infinity War trailers as like, and maybe even the Endgame trailer where it's all like the flashbacks of the characters from previous films. Like I think
Infinity War was the best trailer ever.
Yeah, Infinity War has got some fantastic trailers, but I kind of see those as like a nice like structure for a trailer. And then you just occasionally you get a film like Suicide Squad's first trailer, which is just, it kind of feels like it's just building up, but come down a bit, and then the end. It's just, I don't know. That's, again, I've just been a complete nitpicky asshole today, and I apologize. It's
Sean said this is normal.
Yeah. You weren't supposed to say that.
My bad.
But yeah, no, I definitely prefer the second trailer. I thought it was really great, and I'm looking forward to seeing it be like R-rated and earning that and letting. I think James, like, he tweeted out something that I thought was a really great point the other day. He was talking about how like the tragic nature of villains who aren't even that good at being villains, and I'm like, you know what, that is a great premise for a movie. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah. Sai, what's your thoughts on the trailer that you hate?
Yeah. No, I like both trailers. Just to be, upfront about that. But yeah, the first one, I think is more because we just wanted more footage. At least me personally, I just wanted to see more of this film, and so we saw a little bit of DC Fandom, which was like 7 months ago now.
Yeah.
And so it's like now it's like that first Red Band trailer. I was like, I'm eating it up. You know what I'm saying? And so when the second one, I was like, okay, I kind of already saw the Red Band trailer. You know, so that's kind of how I looked at that. But as far as, like I said, James Gunn, yes, James Gunn's a comic book head, so this is giving him like all the toys and just going crazy with it. So I'm looking forward, you know, to this film. Harley Quinn is going to overshadow any scene that she's in. Like she looks immaculate any, you know, time you see her. So it's not fair what they're doing with her. But I'm excited. Like I said, the tone, the two different tones, that's interesting because I didn't see that quote as far as looking at two different tones, which is cool. But the film, I think, is going to deliver. That's all I had to sell me on. I'm surprised I didn't see a lot of Idris Elba in the trailer. Just for some reason, I just thought he would be more. I see more Peacemaker. I see, like I said, Harley. So it just I'm just picking like different things I'm seeing. King Shark is a win. Sylvester Stallone, amazing. So I'm just excited for this film, and that's all I had to do was sell me. So I'm all on board for it. So.
Yeah, and what benefits Walter Hamada is that his next 4 DC movies are all probably going to be they're big IPs. They're probably all going to be big hits. But I don't think that's solely down to him. I think it's down to the talent like The Rock, Matt Reeves, those type of guys.
Yeah,
James
no,
Gunn.
I don't really think there's anyone sitting there and going, "Do I want to watch Suicide Squad?" Oh, Walter Hamada's there. Yeah, I'm sold. I'm going for that. It's
all James Gunn. Harley.
So, but in terms of building a universe, that's Walter Hamada's job. And does he have the ability to do that? I'm not too sure. We'll have to see how it goes. But we'll see. He keeps canceling his universe movies, so he's not doing it. He's not doing a good
someone
job.
else is canceling his.
This is like this horrible twist where it's like Jason Kilar is actually just overseeing the whole thing. The person that everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna save the Snyderverse," you know, he just like, "Fuck you! I would like money." And, you know,
the darkest future.
But the Suicide Squad comes out in August in theaters and on HBO Max. I hope theaters are open here by that time, so I get to watch it in theaters. But I think it's going to be huge, big action. It reminds me a bit of kind of like Apocalypse Now, you know, the big action scale with the stuff like that. So John Cena, I love him as an actor and as a wrestler.
Harley looks good. James Gunn has Harley looking really good in this film. Props to him on that. Amazing. And she does. I think it could be Birds of Prey. She was good, but she probably needed a great director for the movie to really work on. Caddy End's good, but you know, this is a bigger scale. James Gunn got more freedom because he's $1 billion Marvel director. That's probably why, and that could benefit the movie big time. But that looks like a good trailer, and we're all looking forward to that as well. We're comic book movie fans. We're going to watch all the stuff, and then we'll judge it and give out about it after.
Exactly, they're giving us content.
I'll let you know if it's bad after. I'm gonna watch it though.
And then those people online who said I'm boycotting all the movies, and then they're on Twitter the very next day saying, I didn't like that part of the movie.
Right. Well, it's funny because like all these Disney Plus people, you know, they was canceling Disney Plus because of a Star Wars related story, Gina Carano, and but they watched WandaVision, somehow they watched the whole thing, you know. So no,
they were just using their friend's account. I'm borrowing a friend's account.
So we're gonna watch it, and then we'll give our opinion after. But we're consuming all of this stuff, man.
Oh yeah,
exactly. But I think Lewis will wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Unless you've any
more to say. I'm all movie buffed out, I think.
But I want to thank our guest Sile for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yes, fun. Gotta do this again. Get your own coffee talk. We gotta figure out the time zones.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
It can be weird at times.
We have no lives. We'll do any time.
Me and Lewis we're on the same time zone. We get mixed up. I think you said 7. What? 7?
I'm here like talking to myself for an hour, and like Sean arrives just some finishing up. It's all right. We'll get him next time.
It's done.
That's fun.
Man, tell everyone where we can get you on Twitter and your YouTube channel and Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, first, like I'm launched, and I think I'm relaunching my website, SilAbdul.com. We got the domain. We secured the domain name, so I'm relaunching the website, SilAbdul.com. But on Twitter, SilAbdul at SilAbdul Inc. And YouTube channel SilAbdul Inc. as well. But we are, like I said, branching out, SilAbdul.com. just follow both names. You'll find me. And like I said, YouTube, Twitter, and we're doing a little Facebook too as well. So yeah,
that's awesome. See, that's good stuff, and I'm enjoying the content as well. And Lewis, where can we find you on all the?
I don't want you to find me. This is the only time where I want to be accessible. All right, this is the only time I show up. You see how dark it is in here? I can just do this, and then I'm like,
I can't find you. Yeah, I can't find you.
It's like when we start these shows.
Away.
Oh yeah, it's true. We're like this the whole time. It's like we start the show and it's bright outside, and then within like an hour, it's like.
That's how we know when to end it. Like when it gets dark with Lewis.
Yeah,
it's time to end the show.
No, you can find me. That's my hashtag right there. That's not a hashtag. That's my Twitter handle. And you can find me on the Movie Buffs, this great YouTube channel that you may have heard of.
Cool.
So awesome. Yeah, what about you, Sean? How do people find you?
I don't know if anyone spotted it, but the Movie Buffs, we can manipulate weather. That has been proven. We start our shows with daylight, and we can end the show. And whenever we decide to end it, it's nighttime. So
exactly, because people see the darkness and they go, "Oh, I want to go to bed," and then the last thing on their mind at the end of the day.
I'm sleepy right now. Like, for some reason.
Yeah, it works. Yeah,
I'm very sleepy.
So we kill the competition. So anyone that watches this stream, they're too tired to watch other people's streams, and they go to bed.
You got like people from like IGN watching, and they're about to do this huge interview with like Steven Spielberg, and they're all just sat there at their desks, just nodding off.
I see headphones.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, go hide these again. We got to do an interview with Steven Spielberg. I just saw the headphones, so I'm awake. But it's.
But the Movie Buffs will take it. We'll interview Steven Spielberg next episode. Next episode, if we're around, if we're available. But
we got busy schedules, so.
Yeah. We've got weather to manipulate. But you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and TikTok. Now TikTok as well. Movies that matter. I'm making big segues now in TikTok. Pretty big,
I gotta get over there, man.
I'm making strides, but but just search Movie That Matters anywhere, and you can find me. Bebo, any of those stuff.
Sean will find you if you can't find him.
Yeah, if you can't find me, I'll find you. I'll send you a DM. Why aren't you following me? No.
That's creepy. It's really creepy.
That's all the more incentive to follow him. Otherwise, he's just
right. Like, I'm gonna follow this guy. You found me.
Do it now. Do it now. That's how I get clout. I threat people. I threaten them.
That's a secret of clout. You find them. Wow.
I think before we get sued or something, or before somebody gets army hammered, we'll end this end the stream.
All right, thank you everybody for watching. We will see you when we see you. All right, give me 2 seconds, guys. Right, yeah.